are here on a random December day in 1921, covering the groundbreaking news story of today, the day that a huge riot began at the futuristic Serrata at the Margheriti Hall in Rome. We have here reporting live the event Giovanni, who is going to be asking around to fully understand why the whole situation occurred. Off to you, Giovanni.
Thank you, Enzo. And now onto the news. We have here a woman who claims to have been in the audience close to where the outbreak of the riot occurred. Tell me, ma'am, what happened out there? How did this begin?
Well, Giovanni, it all began when Marinetti, the poet, stepped onto the stage. He started yelling his standard manifesto, which many have heard before, which called for the elimination of traditional art and culture, while applauding speed, brutality, and machines. There were only a few sporadic tenses that didn't surprise me, but then out of nowhere, someone in the back yelled that they could no longer put up with his bullshit of a play. At that point, things really got out of hand.
Okay, so it sounds like tensions were already high, but what happened for this whole fiasco to begin?
It wasn't simply Marinetti's comments. People were already tense even before the play began. You see, many of the concepts of the Futurists has already caused a great deal of debate. Many people viewed them as dangerous and insulting beliefs. They weren't just disagreeing with Marinetti's opinions. The audience was assaulting the event. There were slurs being yelled across, loud arguing, drinks were being tossed, and I believe I saw someone pick up a glass of wine and hurl it at the stage. Seriously, I didn't know what to do.
That sounds absolutely chaotic. Did anyone try to calm the crowd?
There were some men in the back trying to calm things down, but they were quickly overwhelmed. There was no way to reason with anybody during this riot. The Futurist posters that had been hung about the room were being torn down, and people were shouting from the top of their lungs.
Do you think this was more than a dispute over art? Was there a deeper animosity to it all?
Of course, Giovanni, this was simply more than art. It has to do with change. Everything from the past, including classical music, literature, and art, is to be destroyed by the Futurists. Many audience members believed that these young revolutionaries were threatening their whole world. I sensed the rage in the air getting so dense. Giovanni, this was a battle for our culture's destiny, not just a dispute about the future.
Well, thank you for your time, Laura. I appreciate all of your info you were able to share during these troublesome times. Well, that was a lot to take in, but we need to find out more. Hello, my name is Giovanni. I'm with the BBC TPCRCN News, and I'm very interested in hearing what happened out there when you were trying to perform.
Hello, Giovanni. I'm Cecilia. I was a dancer on that stage when the whole rout began.
Nice to meet you, Cecilia. Please, can you walk me through what happened on that stage?
Well, Giovanni, it was chaotic, to say the least. I was performing a piece meant to embody the real ideals of the Futurists. Something energetic, fast-paced, and of raw, untamed emotion. But as soon as Marinetti started to present his speech, I could feel the tension in the air thicken quickly. As we danced, I tried to keep focus, but the noise of people's hatred started and it never stopped growing louder. People were shouting from the top of their lungs, throwing things. It was so impossible to ignore.
Were you able to finish the performance?
Not at all. We were barely able to finish the first movement before the whole room erupted. I saw a man sprinting towards the stage with his fists raised, as if he was ready to attack us. My fellow dancers and I froze in complete shock, not knowing whether we should keep performing or run away as fast as to get to safety. The stagehands tried to intervene and de-escalate the situation, but it was too much and too late. We had to leave. It felt like our entire performance was drowned out by the chaos. It was surreal.
That sounds terrifying, Cecilia. But I need to know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned earlier that the audience was already upset even before the performance began. What do you think pushed them to such extremes?
It's complicated, Giovanni. A lot of the audience consisted of older, more traditional people, artists, writers. They viewed the Futurists as a threat to everything they held dear to. Marinetti's manifesto was not just a declaration of new ideas, it was a declaration of war against the past. They felt like their entire cultural foundation was being trampled, and they weren't about to let some upstart poet and his radical friends make a mockery of everything they believed in.
So, it was more than just a disagreement about art and music. It was a clash of core ideologies. Do you think the Futurists were fully aware that they were provoking this movement?
Oh, absolutely. Marinetti and his followers knew exactly what they were doing. They thrived on controversy, on riling up the public. They wanted to shock people, pull them out of their comfort zones. The way they spoke about speed, machinery, and violence, everything about their movement screamed that they were prepared to burn down the old world to make space for the new. But they didn't expect the level of hostility it would provoke. This wasn't just an abstract debate, it was personal to the people here tonight.
So, in a way, this was a battle for the soul of Italy and its future?
Exactly. It wasn't just a silly fight over aesthetics or art. It was a fight over the kind of world people want to live in. Marinetti's vision was too much for many to bear, but for the futurists, it was necessary to clear away the cobwebs of the past. This riot, it was a collision of two completely different worlds.
Well, Cecilia, thank you so much for your time and sharing this tremendous moment.
Of course.
Have a great day. Good evening, Miss. My name is Giovanni, reporting from BBC TPCR News. You look like you were part of tonight's performance. Would you mind sharing your thoughts about what happened?
Good evening, Giovanni. Yes, I'm Clara. I was one of the musicians tonight. Though after all this chaos, it hardly feels appropriate to call it a performance.
Clara, what was it like up there on the stage during the riot?
Honestly, we started playing our piece, something bold, fragmented, very much in line with futuristic ideas. First, the audience seemed restless, but when Marinetti took the stage, everything changed. The shouting started and it quickly spiraled into chaos.
Did you see the audience reaction before the music started and went downhill?
Yes, there was tension from the very beginning. People were glaring at the banners and posters plastered around the hall. The futuristic slogans, "Down with tradition" and "Long live speed and machines," seemed to run them the wrong way before a single note was played.
And when the riot broke out, how did you react?
I froze for a moment, trying to keep playing, but it became impossible to focus. I remember hearing a loud crash. Someone had hurled a chair at the stage. That's when I realized it was not safe to stay. The other musicians and I grabbed what we could and ran backstage.
That sounds terrifying. Why do you think the audience reacted so violently?
It wasn't just about the music, it was about what we represented. The futuristics are determined to tear down the old ways and embrace something radically new. For many, the audience, especially the older ones, this felt like a direct threat to their identity. It's as if we were declaring war on their memories, their values.
Do you think the futurists anticipated such a response?
Oh, I think they thrive on it. Marinetti and his group love to provoke. They want people to react, to get angry, to feel shaken. But I don't think they expected this level of rage. It was like watching two worlds collide, and we musicians were caught in the middle of it.
Do you regret participating in tonight's event?
Regret? Not exactly. I believe in pushing boundaries and exploring new ideas, but I do wish it hadn't come to this. And it meant to challenge, yes, but not to incite violence.
Thank you, Clara, for sharing your perspective.
What happened today was tragic, but truly, who do we trust? The futurist or the classics? Come here.
Go.
No, come here. Bombaski, let's go.
It wasn't. It.
In the beginning,
It wasn't simply Marinetti's comment.
Mother shit, bro.
Pussy clap, rasta clap, ding-a-ling.
Eeny beeny.